Governor Siminalayi Fubara has pledged to work harmoniously with the Rivers State House of Assembly to accelerate the state's recovery and drive socio-economic growth. He made this known during a statewide broadcast on Friday in Port Harcourt, describing the emergency period as one of the most challenging in the state's history. Fubara emphasized that Rivers leaders must set aside personal interest and prioritize the collective good of the state. He assured residents that his administration is committed to inclusive governance and building stronger collaboration with the legislature for the benefit of all. The governor also expressed gratitude to Rivers people for their resilience, peaceful conduct, and prayers throughout the period of emergency. He reiterated his determination to deliver good governance by working closely with lawmakers to ensure stability and sustainable development. Victor, what do you make of this story?
I think it's just basically the kind of thing that you would expect, from the governor at this point. I agree with him that it's been one of the most, should I say, difficult or challenging times for Rivers State. As a state, we've gone through a process that we ought not to have, but I mean we've gone through it, and hopefully lessons have been learned. I think one of the major issues that led to all of the crisis and the expansion or explosion of the issues was the issues between the executive and the legislature. So I'm sure that he understands that if you're going to avoid that kind of explosion of issues unnecessarily, if you ask me, then I agree with him that working harmoniously, you don't have to agree, but
you have to coexist.
Yes, understand that, look, this is how it works, and you have to, as a governor, you have to leverage on relationships, on people, build trust, build them, some kind of synergy between you and members representing, the different constituencies we have in the state. So, yes, he has said it, but don't forget, it's not the first time we've heard this kind of statement. We've heard it over time, and still, it's snowballed into this. So I want to believe and hope that he will be true to his words. And again, this is, I know we're talking about what he said, but it shouldn't be just him. I hope that the members, of the House of Assembly are also and equally ready to sacrifice and work with the governor, because without that synergy between the two or several arms of government, then we would not have sustainable development. It's good he's saying it. I am certain he has learned lessons. I mean, after
both parties at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to, since we're talking about the governor, I'm trying
yes.
to stick to his own, what I perceive will be his perspective. And I'm very certain it's going to be difficult for him. If there's anything I want to do is commend him for doing his responsibility as a man first of all, because as a man, one of the most difficult things is coming together after defeat to, continue working for a particular process that you had the disagreement that led to your defeat. So it's going to be difficult for him, and he's going to need all the strength, all the wisdom that he can garner or gather to ensure that the next 2 years or the last 2 years of his administration, or barely 2 years, he will be able to achieve something reasonable that history and posterity can always, be kind to him. So I hope that whatever he has said, there's enough sensibility between both parties, and ensure that we do not repeat or go back to the kind of place that we're coming from.
Now, Rivers State House of Assembly, on the other hand, during their plenary last week, also, made the same vow to work cordially with the governor, and also asked him to present a list of his commissioner nominees for, ratification, and also called for the budget as well. That, to a large extent, signifies or signals the Rivers State House of Assembly's readiness, to fully engage in legislative activities. On the side of the governor, it's actually quite refreshing, to see the position that the governor is taking, saying that, I am going to work with the legislature to ensure that that governance, is not just doled out to the people, but sustainable governance as well. That one would say it's a breath of fresh air at this point in Rivers State. But however, we will not neglect a particular call that the governor made during his speech. And during his speech, he also requested that Rivers State elders, everybody, the River State leaders, should set aside personal interests and prioritize the collective good of the state. One would say to a large extent, this reconciliation has been between majorly the state executive and the state legislature. Yeah. Now, we also have, do not forget that this River State crisis balkanized a lot of things. The River State leaders and elders of the state were divided along 2 lines, and they were like 2 parallel lines that never crossed at that point in time.
They were not the same unending.
Yes, and you are also aware that during the state of emergency, the River State elders were silent. They did not speak and still divided. My interest now, just like the governor has called that River State leaders should come together, what do you make of it moving forward? Do you anticipate any form of friction coming from that angle?
Well, I think it's more. I like to say most times when I talk about this that this is more of a realization than it is a reconciliation. I think certain parties have realized that this is what I should do. This one, because if you ask me, I don't think much has changed in terms of the same people in the State House of Assembly. They are the same people there now that were there before. The governor is the same person that was there. The people around him are probably the same people around him. The elders are the same people that were there when all these issues happened. So the question now is, what is reconciliation? I think for me it's more of realization. The governor has realized that, look, this fighting my boss would not yield me. I cannot defeat and win this fight in this way. Maybe I should take a different approach. If I want to be a good governor, if I want history to be kind to me in terms of how good or bad I was as a governor, I think I'd have to approach it differently. If I want to carry Rivers people along, I think I don't have to be as polarized as it was. So yes, he has come to the realization, seemingly, these other people we're talking about now, I don't think Rivers people have come to this realization as much as the governor had. I think if there's anybody that has had an awakening more than any other person is the governor. He has been the one to bear most of the brunt. He is the one that has felt the most hit. He knows what he has received. He knows the damages. Look, I want to be very honest. The stock of people we have in the assembly, as you and I know, with what happened, how they got into power, most of them did not go through a competitive process. I'm trying to mind my word, but competitive process that brought them through their parties of primaries and elections. We know how it went. It was most of anybody that they agreed that will go. There was no proper primary election that people contested. So most of them are there, that got free rides to that position. They do not. Some of them, with all due respect, do not understand legislative process as much as they should. You and I have heard some of them speak. Of course, I'm sure there are some sound minds there, but I'm saying I don't see that difference. When you talk about what they said about telling the governor to do all of that, ideally it shouldn't be, sincerely, because the governor ought to know. It is not the place of the State House of Assembly to tell the governor to do this thing. It's their responsibility to accept and do their function. When the governor comes, okay, yes. What he has said is, I'm going to work in synergy with them. That is what I expect, not coming publicly to tell them that, the governor should. It shows you the kind of people that we have in our assembly. And it's unfortunate, but this is where we are. Yes, there's progress. Yes, we've made a move from, the retrogressive steps that we took, and we're back to a somewhat stabilized, state. But I am saying I still have my worries that most of these persons see themselves as victorious people. They see themselves as victors. They have not realized that whatever has happened in the past 6 months has damaged the states a whole lot. They don't realize it. They don't know. Most of them know is we have won. Now, most of them, I believe what they feel is, Shebi, you want to fight us. The lesson most of them are taking home is that you cannot fight us. They are not taking home that the argument that we had that we were not completely in control has set us backward, and we need to ensure that this does not repeat. And that is where the worry and the fear is, because as we continue, same things with the elders. There were times when we needed people that, elders in quotes now, to take action. What were the actions? These are simple actions as an elder or as elder. They did not take it. So the governor calling on these people only means that he understands that he has felt most of the pain. He knows that most of these people around him, both the elders and the people that support him, have not felt half of what he has felt. Do not know the pain. Most of us can assume that Rivers State has lost a lot, but we do not know the much. He knows, as a governor, he knows how much he could have done in the past 6 months, and how much he's not able to do, how much he will not be able to do even at this stage. Most of us do not know. So him making this call, and I think I would like to join him to call on everybody, it's not just the elders, to wake up. Look, we might not know, but in years to come, very short time, we will understand how far behind we have gone as a state. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like the young people would understand this, that we've lost a lot. People are comfortable. People are always sitting down and waiting for their turn. That is what most persons are doing. But if what everybody needs to run an office, or run the state is 500 naira, because you have the basic things set, all you need to do is do run recurrent, and it's working. What has happened now in Rivers State is that if you get to that position like you're waiting for your turn, by the time that 500 naira comes, it will not be enough for you to do any reasonable thing. You probably need to strategize and get another 1,000 naira. That is how far back we've gone as a people. But the young people, even waiting for an opportunity, do not know. The elders, that should be given advice to, look, this kind of experience should not reoccur. Also, do not have that realization that, look, because of our inactiveness, because of our, lack of, responsibility that we've not taken as we ought to, the state has suffered. We have a role to play. We need to go to our people and inform our people, and also tell our people that these are the kind of things we should avoid. This is how we can avoid it. If the elders do not know how to have avoided in the first place, do you think that they will have a proper advice to give to the people coming up to avoid this challenge? So this is where we are, and I really wish and hope that the elders, the people of Rivers State, the young people of Rivers State, the politicians, the elite, come to this same realization that I believe sincerely that the governor has come to, and ensure that we take proper steps to properly come out and see if we can make progress from where we're coming from.
Right. Very important. Okay. When you were speaking first, you also talked about the position, your perspective or your perception of the position of the Rivers State House of Assembly members, and you said that for you feel that it is more of we have won, victory at last for them, and not the willingness to actually bury the hatchet and get to work. Now, and you're premising that on the fact that they told the governor to present his commissioner nominees and also called for the budget, correct?
Yes, partly.
Now, one would say to a large extent, probably if things were 50-50, there were no crisis prior to this time, probably there would be no need for them to make that statement. But because they are just coming out from crisis, and of course Rivers people will want something, not just a plenary, but something tangible to be said in line with what we are coming out from. So now the speaker saying, oh, we are willing and ready to work with the governor of the state, which he said, and in line with that he's saying, oh, please present the commissioner nominees and also present the budget so we can hit the ground running. That's, one would say that statement is symbolic or more of significance to the fact that we are ready to work with you right now, regardless of everything that may have happened. Not that they are teaching the governor his work, but they are trying to tell the governor, we are ready at this point. So let's get this thing done. Let's hit the ground running. And not just for, I think to a large extent, it may not necessarily be for the governor, because of course they've had their meetings, they've had certain reconciliations, but this is a message to Rivers State, to Rivers people, that we are ready to work with the governor. And to prove to you that we are ready, the governor should present the budget and present commissioners so that we can hit the ground running. So while your perception is very well respected, I also want you to look at it from this other perspective, that probably it is not teaching the governor or commanding the governor on what to do or how to do what he needs to do. But this is a way of telling Rivers people that we are ready. You know, we are open right now to work with the governor, and we want to hit the ground running.
I agree with you, and I also understand the angle you're coming from, which is just a basic, most reasonable explanation to why that kind of thing should go. But again, like why I said that was that I said my worry and my hope. I tried to merge them. I said this is my worry, that this particular approach might not or does not. With us, does it make you confident? Do you feel confident that the State House of Assembly are going to do all they are supposed to do with the governor, irrespective of what?
Now, when you look at the crisis that has happened, if you're to analyze the crisis that has happened so far, the governor was put out of leadership for 6 months, correct? Now, the Rivers State House of Assembly has literally fought for their lives for the past 1 year, 6 months. And for this past 1 year, 6 months, they have not received salary. They have not received anything at all. So now one would say that, on the other hand, they have also been feeling the impact because they have been unable to work. The governor has been unable to do much for 6 months. But literally, the governor did not recognize them for the better part of 1 year. An entire year that they were making laws and doing things, and it literally was not even being acknowledged, right? And then moving forward, they were also suspended for 6 months. And for 1 year and 6 months, they did not receive salary. They were not acknowledged. They were not paid. So one would say, to a large extent, the lawmakers got, one would say, the bigger hand of the gravel at the end of the day. But one would say, okay, the governor's own is loudest because of the emergency situation and the fact that people are of the opinion that the suspension of the governor and the lawmakers were unconstitutional. But one would say that the Rivers State, to be fair enough to them as well, the lawmakers also had suffered extensively.
Yeah, of course. I can't sit here or anywhere at all to go and say that the people representing their different countries have not suffered, some setback, both personally and of course politically. I cannot say that. It's a fact that need not to be discussed or questioned rather. So I agree, and I know for a fact that these lawmakers have been through a lot of...
So why would they now come and gloat? One would say they have learned their lessons as well, and they would want to move forward at this point.
This is where my worry and my hope comes. Now, my worry is that I believe that with all that has happened, and with the antecedents even before this time, that people are most likely... I said something with due respect, that the kind of people we have in the State House of Assembly did not come through a competitive, system or
keenly contested election.
That's why I use competitive. So my worry is that they might not understand. It's different when you hassle for something, and then you get it, and when you just...
Was the governor's emergence keenly contested as well?
No, that's what I'm saying.
So one would say that his emergence was on a platter as well.
Yeah, so
if not easier than that of the House of Assembly members.
You and I know that this state of emergency that got to this point was as a result of the people on the side of the state, the lawmakers. That's both the president and, of course, his former governor of Rivers State and current minister of the FCT. We know that how these things happened was that the governor was trying to fight something, which was this other side. Now, I am saying this because, in all sincerity, because if you look at the records and the things and the facts surrounding these past 6 months, and the Supreme Court judgment, there's enough there that should possibly send some persons to prison. I will not mention the person, but you know what I'm saying. There are a lot of persons should go to prison, ideally, if what we have on paper, both from the Supreme Court judgment and other actions that were taken, if we go by them, a lot of persons should be in prison. The present governor should be in serious problem. Do you know what? Go and read the Supreme Court judgment. I'm definitely sure you've read it.
I have it. I have the CTC.
Look how they described the governor, and you understand that a lot was done. Even after that, a lot of actions were taken that if ideally
in a functional society.
Yes, a lot of persons would go down for it. So, but they reached to a compromise, which is normal. This is politics. So, as politicians, what they couldn't do before he got to this point, he lost. The governor lost. So, most of his actions were taken as a result of a loss, not as a result of he wants to do it. So, I'm sure when you lose a battle, you will be humbled. And any decision taken at that point cannot be said this person was bold. He took it because and that's what I'm saying. He has lost, but irrespective of the fact that he has lost, he's now compulsorily he has to work with the same people that won him.
So your fear is arrogance on the side of the lawmakers. Is that your fear? Feeling that the governor is coming from a defeatist angle.
Of course.
So, and the lawmakers in this instance won the Supreme Court judgment. So they might want to make things difficult for him, make him jump through.
I hope that just as I believe that the governor has realized, not just reconciliation like I said, that these people too will realize that it is not about the victory that they have seemingly gotten, but it's about the realization that whatever fight, whatever squabble they had, has set us backward. Now I'm speaking as someone from the state, not someone on either side. And I'm saying that I hope that these people do not operate on the precedence of we have won. Because if they do, they will not take the necessary actions that they need to recover whatever has been lost.
Right.
The governor is not in a position of choice
to negotiate at this point.
Yes. So he has his only option is to do it. They have a choice because they feel they have won. But the choice, I have to remind them, is that the choice is not about controlling or winning. It's about recovering your responsibility, governance,
and not about who the vanquished or the victor.
At all. Politics they've played their politics, but they should also remember that they realize rather that there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
All right.